know what it feels like sometimes to be hungry?
Yeah. Like I can't really for real focus that much.
Do you ever go days where you don't eat?
Sometimes. I don't know if people know.
You feel like they'll judge you?
Yeah.
1 out of 5 children suffers from hunger in America.
So when you walk the halls of Hammond, you wouldn't necessarily know who's hungry and who's not.
Absolutely not.
80% of the children at this school have some food insecurity, which means when they leave school, many of them don't know where their next meal is coming from.
Yeah, we have about 150 students that we're going to have to figure out how we can make this stretch.
I'm worried because they need to eat.
In a city known for its wealth, a problem in Alexandria goes unnoticed. We're talking about hunger hidden in plain sight here at Francis C. Hammond Middle School and the community that surrounds it. Tonight, we'll do more than talk about this problem. We're going to show you what happens when the community comes together to rise up to the challenge and how you can do the same. It's part of a new project at WUSA9. We call it Impact, Feeding Our Children.
Hunger is real. At the end of the day, hunger can bring you to a place where you just really feel down.
Alexandria, Virginia is a city of wealth.
It's one of the wealthiest districts in the country.
Lavish neighborhoods hide pockets of poverty and families going hungry.
You've got a population of children. Nearly all of them have some question about whether they're going to eat when they leave school.
Absolutely.
We report on problems all the time, but we've heard from you that you want to see us do more. So we decided we would do more.
We are a team of journalists
dedicated to getting out of the newsroom
and into your neighborhood
to work together to solve a problem, to make an impact.
Good morning.
I'm glad that you guys came. This is our only family picture with the 6 of us. This is my oldest, Savon, Ronnie, Javen, my only daughter, Alina, and the baby, Gianni.
That's me.
That's you. I try to make, stuff that's fast. Bacon cooks really fast, eggs, even with your income, even with the job, even with the percent, when you're feeding 6 people, food runs out.
So, Javen, do you know what it feels like sometimes to be hungry?
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
My stomach, it kind of makes a noise, and I'm hungry, and then I can't really for real focus that much.
Your kids know what it's like to be hungry.
Yes. It's like an anxiety level that I get to because it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want them to feel like I'm not doing my part. It's painful. You don't want to see your kids hungry. You don't want to see them, looking for you for, something that they're supposed to have. Okay, let mommy put some on your plate. Here.
We're going to take a tour of the west side of the city of Alexandria, and I'm going to take you through some neighborhoods so that you can get a really good perspective of where our students come from. All up and down this North Bargard Street, there are apartment complexes. And so you have a mixture of low income, working class families, families that are well off. They all are in this community, so it's very diverse in that sense. I'm sure you all drive up and down Duke Street, you probably wouldn't have any idea. people just kind of go on their way, not really knowing, you know, the needs that the community has. It's not that families aren't working and that they don't want to take care of their families, but sometimes it's just not enough.
Has any child ever come to you personally and said, Ms. Neptune, I'm hungry?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So Ms. Neptune took us on a tour. This is the school here. She drove me around. And right in this immediate area are, you know, $1 million homes. The average cost of a home in Alexandria is around $500,000. So it's not surprising that most people have no clue about this pocket of poverty that's sort of right in the middle. So when we talk about hunger and this issue of hunger, people say it needs a face. There are a whole lot of faces at Hammond. 80% of the children at this school have some food insecurity, which means when they leave school, many of them don't know where their next meal is coming from. That shouldn't be a hidden problem.
So what can happen when journalists team up with members of the community to try and solve a problem? When we come back, we'll take you inside the lives of students and teachers here at Francis C. Hammond as they show us what it'll take to make an impact.
We can take care of kids in Virginia, and I'm worried because they need to eat.
Many of you have reached out to us all day asking how you can help. We are so inspired by your generosity. People are calling to volunteer and give donations. Our United Way volunteers are here for about another hour. The number to call is 202-895-5560. Just $10 can really make a difference in the lives of these children.
Welcome back to Francis C. Hammond Middle School here in Alexandria, where we are dedicated tonight to making an impact on the lives lives of students in this school. Perhaps you know the feeling, hunger, that uncomfortable sensation that impacts the spirit and the soul. You're about to hear from some children who know that feeling all too well, and from their champions here at Hammond.
There are superheroes on earth and there are angels on earth. And if you have any doubts, you can simply walk in the front door of Francis C. Hammond and talk to any one of those teachers, administrators, staffers, and you know that they are committed in a different kind of way to these children. So when you walk the halls of Hammond, you wouldn't necessarily know who's hungry and who's not.
Absolutely not. So we're standing in front of our breakfast bags. So these are the bags that we use to package our meals in the morning. We serve roughly 1,300 to 1,400 meals every morning. Our motto is every student succeeds. And so if that is what we're saying, I have to find resources to ensure that every student succeeds. And success looks different for every child. Success for one child is, I really need to have something to eat.
Sometimes it makes me like mad. Makes me like, doesn't let me get focused in school. I don't want people to know.
You feel like they'll judge you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wrecks me. It destroys me. We can take care of kids in Virginia, and I'm worried because they need to eat.
We have a population of 1,454 students at this point that come to school here. We are also a school that's almost 80% free and reduced lunch. So if you do the math, that's close to 1,000 families that are living at or below the poverty line. Our weekend backpack program, that really does help, at least with a couple of meals for those students. These are all meals that hopefully the students themselves can prepare at home. So we have 40 bags for 150 students, and we have to try to make it stretch.
You have the tough task of having to determine which kids in a school full of need get to take this food home. What was that like for you?
It's really difficult because at the end of the day, 1,000 kids could use this food.
As a group, we've committed ourselves, we want to do something. We want to be able to make an impact for these students and for your school. What can we do to make that happen?
We have a backpack program, but it's not reaching enough kids.
We do have some resources at this point, but we're just hoping that we can amplify the amount of food that we can bring into our school in order to make sure that is one challenge that their family doesn't have to worry about.
As we got into the school and we met the principal and we met the social workers and we met the kids, the process kind of started to change, and it became less about this story. What we were really focused on was serving these kids.
The community support is key.
It's just a feeling that you really can't describe, to be able to be moved with a feeling to help other people, to give.
It just takes a little bit of extra effort, and life can be a lot better for a lot of people.
It is truly amazing what we can do when we all come together to make an impact. And we know so many of you have been moved by these stories and you're looking for a way to help. So This is the way to do it. Call this number, 202-895-5560. Just $10 will buy 3 meals to help support this program. You can do it. Call us, 202-895-5560. Our WUSA9 Impact team came here to Francis C. Hammond wanting to help feed hungry students, but it was a task way too big for us. So we turned to the community to help fill these shelves and make sure children had enough to eat. And what happened next was simply amazing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I first want to say thank you so much for being here with us this evening. The support that we've received is overwhelming, where we have people just waiting to get in, and that just warms my heart in so many ways. And I just thank you all for being here supporting our 1,450 students that you've probably never met. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Come visit us in Hammond at any time. But again, thank you.
Is phenomenal. I mean, when we look at the number of volunteers that you can't even see with a camera that we've had to turn away, that tells us that there is good still in society. There are those who really and truly want to help, and it's our job, and I think our distinct responsibility, to connect those who want to give and share a little bit of themselves with those in need.
So tell us why you came today. What brought you here?
This is our community. These are the kids in our community, and when kids go hungry, that's on us. And I think we have to come together as a community to really help each other and support each other. And if there's a way we can do it, that's what we have to do.
Right now, but this is just the beginning, right?
Okay, that's right. Let's do it. Let's meet. Let's figure out what you need. Let's get it done.
That's right.
We want to support this effort all the time. It's good stuff.
That's great, Pastor.
I knew the need was there, and when you guys presented it and you said you needed the help, we always were looking for an opportunity to help, and so you were like an answer to prayer for us.
We formed this incredible team between the school, and then we met with the people at the United Way. And when we went to the church and we realized that these people who were total strangers, had never met us before, just let us walk in, and we said, basically, we need your help.
The group of us who've been working on this have had an opportunity to talk with children about what it feels like to be hungry. And it is really impactful when you hear children talk about what it feels like to go home hungry and not have food. So thank you on behalf of them for being here tonight.
When we actually loaded everything up to the trucks, it was a really monumental moment.
This is teamwork.
It felt like the culmination of a huge project, a huge victory lap for us.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
We packed all those boxes up. We loaded them into, I think, 8 vehicles. And then when we got to the school, we got to see Principal Peters. It was really a great moment. It felt like all the different counterpoints were finally touching at the center. And we unloaded the boxes, and we're so excited for those kids to get these meals, to finally have all those shelves filled, and to know that no kid's gonna go hungry this summer from that school.
It's been a while since you've seen this many bags.
It absolutely has. Finally, these empty shelves would have something on them. With this contribution, we'll be able to just give it to all of the kids because we know that they could all use the food support.
Honestly, I had no clue. When you watch the news, you can be overwhelmed with everything, how big it is. But this is a small local problem that's easily fixable if people just roll up their sleeves and help a little bit. There's really no reason for kids to go hungry over the summertime. No reason at all, not in a community like Alexandria. So we're happy to kick in with a little donation to kind of make that work.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. It has been an amazing 24 hours. We're anticipating the distribution to students, and I'm just excited to see the joy on their faces when they see these packages coming for the weekend.
How many children, what number?
Isn't it 1 out of 5?
1 out of 5, 1 out of 5 children, yeah, suffers from hunger in America. The community and the school has packed bags for you guys to take home for the weekend.
So today's the day that you and a lot of your classmates and friends get to take these bags home for the weekend. How does that feel?
Well, right now I feel excited about it. Kids get to eat, actually get to take it home without nobody wondering about what's going to happen when they get home and what to eat.
Going into Impact, I knew that it would give us an opportunity to help a community in need. What I didn't expect was how great that need was and how much of an impact we really could have.
When you sit down with these kids and you spend time with them in school, you have to look them in the eye, and you start to really feel and understand what they're going through. And it's not enough to just tell their story anymore. You have to do something about it. We needed a bunch of help to solve this problem because it was enormous. But that was our commitment. We weren't going to leave that school the way that we found it.
Think about all those faces. We all need fuel to survive and thrive. If you want to make an impact, join us. It's going to take all of us to solve this problem of hunger, but we can do it together. And we'll show you how when we come back.
We're also going to show you just where your money will go next. It doesn't take a big donation to make a big impact. $10 will buy 3 meals to help support this program. And we just have to thank the Hoffman Town Center of Alexandria that just donated $10,000. We are so moved. This is the number to call to reach our United Way volunteers, 202-895-5560. Again, 202-895-5560. Thanks for joining us as we work to make an impact in the lives of children. With this project, we were able to pack up and deliver boxes full of enough meals for every student at Francis C. Hammond Middle School to take one home for 4 weekends. But those meals are running out, and Francis C. Hammond is not the only school who could use this help. So let me show you the schools that have access to the weekend meal program right now. We've got Francis C. Hammond in Alexandria, Kelly Miller Middle and Johnson Middle in the district, and William Hurt Middle School in Riverdale, Maryland. But the problem is the schools can only reach a fraction of those students who need them. So your donation will go toward reaching every student. It will also put these schools one step closer to getting there. All these schools here are in need, but there isn't enough money to fund them. And that's why we have teamed up with the United Way to help fund those weekend meal programs. For just a few dollars, we can send students home for the weekend with a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. If you want to donate, or if you just have questions about the program, or you want to volunteer, here's the number to call, 202-895-5560. Now, our phone bank runs until 8 o'clock tonight, so give us a call, 202-895-5560.
Imagine just not having access to food. I mean, food, that's just the basic necessity of life. How can someone not have food? But it's the reality.
And as you've just seen, it's a reality for far too many children at Hammond. You've heard their stories, you've felt their hunger pains, and leading the charge for change is Hammond's principal, Pierrette Peters. We have been through some stuff over these past few months, haven't we?
Yes, we
She
have.
joins us here. We are bonded now here at WUSA9 as we continue this Impact Feeding Our Children special report. You know, Principal Peters, each year you have had more and more students who are coming into the school with this food insecurity. What is driving the numbers?
Yes, and you know, as you've learned, 80% of our students are considered free and reduced lunch. And that number is actually up from last year. Last year it was 76%. And so if you equate that to numbers, we have 1,450 students, but 1,100 of those students have a huge need. And we look at it in terms of resources. For some students, it's food. For some students, it's backpacks, it's school supplies. As we go into winter months, it's winter clothing. And so we know that, you know, we have a very transient area in Alexandria, but although our story is being featured right now, I'm just the one principal representing it for my school. There are principals all over our district and all over our school, you know, Washington, D.C. and Maryland, who actually have to deal with this on a consistent basis and figure out problems to make sure that every student succeeds. You know, we want to ensure that teaching and learning continues, and so that's our main goal, that when students walk in the door, we can level the playing field for them. No one knows, and they can go on about learning for the day.
Now, we know that there are local and regional agencies that were aware of this program, but we are hearing from so many people, both on social media and into our phone bank, who live around Hammond, who have been in Alexandria, who are shocked into action today.
Absolutely. Last night, actually, I had my PTA meeting, and many of the mothers, they said we had no clue. And, you know, that can, in a way, is a good thing. I don't want anyone to walk into our building and have our students feel like you can have this resource, but you can't have this resource. So we want everyone to have the same resources. And so our students are going to benefit immensely from this impact project.
You have talked about how every child should have a chance to succeed, and at your school, you've had to do some things to adapt. You started this breakfast program. It was set out to really address the need because so many kids were coming to school running on empty at the beginning of the day. But there was one thing standing in the way of its early success.
I think that it's become a little bit of an equalizer. A part of the reason that they didn't go downstairs was because, oh, I don't want to, the breakfast is gross. I don't want to go get the breakfast. It wasn't gross. It was awesome, but they didn't want to be seen as going to get it.
It's when they had breakfast in the cafeteria, where free and reduced lunch and breakfast, a lot of kids wouldn't go because of the stigma.
It's very tricky, especially with this age, how we can actually get this food into their hands.
So once you realized that there was this stigma attached to getting this most important meal of the day, you made some changes, and it's working.
Absolutely. We started breakfast in the classroom, and so the way we were doing breakfast initially was very divisive. Students who did not eat breakfast at home, the free and reduced lunch students, went to the cafeteria, and then everyone else went to another location until class began. And so we want to foster a sense of community in our school. I have the most amazing teachers that help support our breakfast in the classroom program, and so it's a breakfast after the bell program. When the 8:30 bell rings, everyone eats breakfast. I have some teachers that even eat breakfast with students. We've empowered students into leadership. We have breakfast ambassadors so that students feel like they have ownership on the program, and it has definitely made a difference in our school community, and also our kids know that we care.
You know what, those breakfast ambassadors, they are so impressive.
They are.
When we talked with them to a person, they said, we should all care about this because it could be us. It could be your niece. It could be your nephew. It could be your child. And as a community, we got to be better than this. And I was just so moved at how in tune they are also with this need and really pulling together as a community at such a young age.
That is true, and I believe that is something that my teachers foster. Service learning is very important to us, and the students have to understand why we're doing this breakfast program. And so because everyone does it, it's not as if we're doing it for one person and not for the other. And so they understand the reasons why we're doing it, why breakfast is important. We want to feed their minds so that they're ready for learning and ready for teaching.
These kids are learning really powerful lessons at an early age. Mm-hmm. And I can only imagine that from here, they will walk out into the world with a greater sense of their purpose and the importance of paying their lives forward. So they received a gift, and you just got to believe that they're going to continue to pass that on.
Yes, I want them to look back on their middle school experience very fondly. I want them to remember the staff members, remember their classmates, but also remember that at some point they have to give back to their school or to their school system or to their community. They have to.
They sure will. You have been an amazing champion, as have your teachers and staff and administrators. Pierrette Peters, thank you so much for all that you do.
Thank you.
The community is so very grateful. I got to tell you, we have raised to this point $25,000. And this is just
amazing
extraordinary. And coming up, we're going to show you how one community answered the call for help.
I knew the need was there, and when you guys presented it and you said you needed the help, we always were looking for an opportunity to help, and so you were like an answer to prayer for us.
I can't wait to introduce you to the pastor whose church family threw open the doors and stepped up to feed families next door. We've been listening to you all day as you've watched our Impact Project, and we wanted to share some of your thoughts. Guillermo tweeted us, "Just incredible labor of love. Getting teary-eyed watching your special on feeding students in Alexandria." Christina said, "Thank you so much for your efforts. I'd love to see all ACPS students, not just those at FC Hammond Middle School, have access to this program." And Alanita wrote, "The USA is very wealthy. There is no reason to have hungry children. We throw away tons of food from restaurants and farms. I applaud all efforts to get food to families. It's an investment in our country." You can reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter. Just use the hashtag WUSA9Impact. We love to hear from you. And we are hearing from so many of you today, $26,000. And we want to thank all of you who have joined us to make an impact in the lives of children. We thank you. The children thank you. Our community thanks you. We still have a long way to go if you want to donate or if you've got questions about the program. So here's the number to call, 202-895-5560. Our phone bank runs until 8 o'clock tonight. Now, we want to show you what your money can do. $10 will help one student with 3 meals. $20 will buy 6 meals. $70, that equals 21 meals. And $300 would be 84 meals, enough for 1 month. The more you give, the better the buying power for the United Way. They can get those meals at a cheaper price in bulk, and we can have an even bigger impact. And that food goes to families who sometimes worry about having enough to eat.
I believe that we're missing a great opportunity because there are people right next door to us who don't get meals every day, and not only don't get meals, but there are other things that are missing in their life.
So Oakland Baptist Church sits just a few blocks from Francis C. Hammond Middle School, but once Pastor Hayes learned about the children at Hammond, he and his congregation jumped at the chance to make an impact on their lives. And Pastor Hayes joins us now. We are so excited to get to this part in the journey. It is so good to see you.
It's good to be here.
So how has this neighborhood mission impacted your congregation?
Well, it brought a newfound excitement. We knew, as we said earlier, that there were challenges out there, and you guys came, Leslie, and gave us an opportunity to serve, and that's what we want to do. And so you opened the doors for us, and you gave us an awareness, and I believe that when awareness meets determination, we get to make an impact, and we're so glad you allowed us to be a part of what you all are doing in the neighborhood.
Well, we're so glad you took the phone call and let us come to your wonderful church and to meet your church family. You know, this is personal for you because you grew up getting some food support in school as well. You grew up in D.C.
Yeah, it was growing up in a family of 11, and when you mentioned it, it hit home because you gave it a title that I didn't know. You know, but I always knew that we were hungry. You know, Mom and Dad did the best they could, and we did have food to eat, but there was always a time when you remember being hungry, and you don't want people to feel that way because it gives them a sense of sometimes not being, having a self-worth. And so being able to give someone food gives them confidence that they can do other things. And like the principal said, it gives them an opportunity to perform well in school because they're going to need a good education in these days to make it in this world.
You know, when we asked people in the community to come out and help us make these bags, we did not realize how many people were actually going to come out. We had so many people that one member of our team was literally directing traffic outside of the church. We must have called the pizza man several times because we said, oh, we've got more people than we realized.
Right.
So many people came out and they just said, this problem is on all of us and we've got to do something about it. And we were able to bring them together at your house of worship.
And I believe, again, that we were just the ones selected. But I believe if you'd have chosen any other house of worship, when you presented that need the way you did and we found out that it was real, they would have jumped at the opportunity also to serve. And it was an amazing day to actually have to turn people away from the church, and they wanted to do more. And I think you're seeing it today by the donations you're getting, that because of what you all are doing, the awareness you're putting out there, people really want to help, and I don't think that this is the end. I think this is just the beginning.
It is just the beginning. You're looking at some video right now of your deacon, Deacon Harris at your church, who was really also very instrumental in this program as well. And something he said stayed with us when we asked him what he wanted the children at Hammond to know. Listen.
Give them hope that there's somebody close by who cares and who loves them and has a compassion. And to me, compassion is just a love in action.
Love in action.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
It is. And again, you gave us the opportunity to put the action that we always had. We had a desire to do something in the neighborhood, and we just didn't know what it was. And when you guys came, you turned the light bulb on inside not just Deacon Harris, but the entire ministry. I mean, they got excited about that, and that's why we had to turn people away from the church, because I think people really want to do the right thing. Sometimes we just have to be shown that there's a need there, and you'll be surprised at the response you'll get.
Well, I can tell you that the children were so excited. Their faces were just ebullient. They were so delighted to know that they were all taking these home and that it came from people in the community who cared about them. So we know the children at Hammond are grateful, and thank you for the love in action. And we know just from being around you and your church community that this is not the end. This is just the beginning.
It's just the beginning.
Thank you so much, Pastor Hayes. Still to come on Impact Feeding Our Children, something to bring us all together.
When we look at the number of volunteers that you can't even see with a camera that we've had to turn away, that tells us that there is good still in society.
We'll show you how we can turn the money you donate into a weekend's worth of meals up next.
And so when we talk about the face of hunger, when we talk about the face of need, that face, any one of us can look in a mirror and see ourselves there. So it's something that we should all be concerned about. It's something that we can all do something about.
You know, so many Families in our region are literally worried about their next meal, and the United Way of the National Capital Region is working to fill that gap. Together with their team and the community, we filled thousands of bags for children to take home on weekends over the summer. But hunger is a problem year-round, so we are working to keep this effort going for all of the children who need this at Hammond. And I am here in our WUSA9 Impact United Way phone bank, where you can see all of these wonderful volunteers have been so busy taking your calls because of your generosity. The phones have been ringing off the hook. So many of you have called us with compelling stories. One woman called us to tell us that she was an immigrant. She knew what it felt like to be hungry. She made a $250 donation. We have a $10,000 donation as well. We've had donations as small as $5. Anything you can give is amazing and important to us. And let me come over here and show you our board. Sam, who's also one of our phone bank champions here, is updating the numbers so you're getting it in real time. $30,907. That equates to 9,281 meals. This is what you have done today. You called this number, 202-895-5560. You believed in WUSA9 Impact, and you're doing just that. My heart is so full. I know that the kids at Hammond and the other schools around the area that are going to benefit from your generosity are so grateful. So our volunteers are on the phone now, taking your calls. We've had so many phone calls today. I'm looking at one donation here, $100 over here. I'm going to walk around. Let's see. What's the donation here? I can see this one is a, what's your donation here?
What is your, what would you like your gift to be?
I'm looking to see here. $10 over here. I see $20. I see hundreds of dollars. This is so fantastic. And joining me now here in our United Way phone bank is Rosie Allen Herring, who is the CEO of the United Way for the National Capital Region. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, when I saw you earlier, we were just over $12,000. Look at that number.
That's absolutely
that is extraordinary.
Phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. But it also is just indicative of all of the care and all of the people who really do care in this community. There is need. We know that. We see it every day. But we also know that there are people here who care about this community, who care about this region, who care about our children, who are here to truly make a difference.
Let's talk about the face of hunger in our region, because this is not just an Alexandria problem.
Absolutely not. When you look at what's happening in our middle schools, there are over 12,000 middle school students in what we call Title I schools, where there's a high propensity for free and reduced lunch. So you find that there are families that really do have some low-income issues. But we know that this is huge when you look at what these children have to go through. They can't focus. They can't be expected to succeed when they have this barrier that's really preventing them from being their absolute best. So it is something that is region-wide, and it's something that your United Way is committed to really eradicating.
Let's dispel some myths about hunger, because we know some people wrote to us and they were saying, well, the parents need to work harder and they need to do this. These are parents who are working.
Absolutely.
Several jobs to make ends meet, and it is expensive to live in this area, and for too many families, it just doesn't add up.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the choices that people have to make, sometimes it's the choices that you have that determine who you are. So this is not about character. This is not about poor choices. I'm not saying that those things don't exist, but this is not about judgment. This is about when we see people who are in need, who find themselves sometimes, by the grace of God, any of us could be in that particular situation as well. We have to do something. And so we can sit on the sidelines and we can, quarterback in terms of what we think people could or should be doing, or we can do something ourselves. And so that's what we're excited about when you talk about impact. It really is a way for us as a community to act.
Rosie, I'm going to bring you over here. Stewie, come on over here with us. These are some of the things that we put into those weekend backpacks, and they're items that the kids can warm up and use for themselves. This is not, it's such a small amount of money for a huge impact, and it's a lifeline for these children on the weekends.
Absolutely. When we look at many of our children who really are dependent upon what's offered to them during the school day, when they leave on Friday afternoons, they really don't know sometimes where their next meal is coming from. And so anyone who may look at the various offerings that we have here may say, well, that's not protein, it's not a meat, it's not this or not that. But for many of the children who really have nothing, this is just as good as the next steak that someone who's of affluence would be able to take advantage of.
It is everything, Rosie. Thank you so much. We're going to take another quick break. Don't forget the number to call, 202-895-5560. $31,117, 9,344 meals on behalf of the entire Impact team at WUSA9 and the schools you're helping. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. This has been Impact, feeding our children.